Hi, I'm Michael Allison, Commercial Director at Roma Finance, and welcome to another episode of RomaTalks, where we meet people from across the property ecosystem. And today I'm delighted to be joined by, once again, Daniel Hill for his second time around. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Michael.
And for the first time, Mr. Paul Rawson of Express Mortgages. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Michael.
Hello. Well, there we go. Listen, Dan, we've heard all about you. And if you haven't heard about Dan, I think it's about episode 9. So go back and have a look for that one. But Paul, before we start, tell us a bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. So, career-wise, came out of uni straight into financial services. Did a degree in accountancy because my sixth form tutor said, "You're good at maths, go and do accountancy." Learned from 3 years of doing that. I hated it. But do you know what? You learn some really crucial things in business. So, went and worked for a couple of general financial services companies, Canada Life, Albany Life. Finally ended up at a company called The Mortgage Point, where I cut my teeth and ended up as the area manager there and running a number of branches. And after, I think it was roughly 7 years, decided it's time to have a go for myself. So we set up Express Mortgages in June 2004, legally, on Company's House. Opened the doors in a shop in Wigan, just me and Steve, business partner, in the October, and that was it. No clients, no plan, just some rubbish neon A4 from WH Smith's with our handwriting on going, "We are a mortgage brokers," because the sign writer had not delivered the signage properly. And the ironic thing was we got loads of clients coming through the door. And the day that the real signage appeared and we took down the neon handwritten signs, the walk-ins dried up. Yeah. So, but, you know, we had a few clients, a few friends and relatives obviously used us. And then we got referrals and recommendations, repeat business. And I guess the rest is history. Yeah.
So started out just you and Steve in this little shop.
Little shop, yeah. And then we got Maria, our first employee, followed by Phil, I think he was next. Right. And then Leanne, and that was 5 of us, but we could only fit a maximum of 4 people in the shop. But it had a basement, so I ended up working in this damp basement for a few months till we could move to some premises, and which we did, and we went really big. And then the credit crunch hit, so it was a great time. We just took on huge premises, and we ended up with about 3 of us in there. Ultimately, I'm cutting a long story short, and we could play 5-a-side football all day if we wanted, because A, we had the room, and B, there was no clients. So, yeah, tough times, but, you know, you get through it. And there's always challenges along the way, isn't there? You know, as I'm sure many businesses, we've had recessions, pandemics, mini budgets. You'll know all about these things as well. But yeah, so far, so good. We're here. We've done pretty well in the last year or two, really expanded, and we aim to continue to do that.
And have you found that your product offerings changed in that period of time? So when you first started in 2005 compared to the spectrum of products you have available now?
Yeah, massively. I mean, obviously in the credit crunch, they collapsed back down again. But I mean, we only really started by doing the residential mortgages, you know, your first time buyers. We're still doing them to this day, you know. Love them, actually. I think they're great clients because you're helping someone move on in life, not just financially. It's a big thing. Residential remortgages, and then buy-to-lets became more prevalent, and a bit more besides. And then obviously a number of years ago, and this is why I guess, you know, you guys, we started on the bridging journey and bridging and development, because I had some guy who works for the number 1 employee, I'm told, by Roma.
Yeah, first employee.
Yeah, first employee. Started nagging me for business and has not stopped since.
So across that period of time, obviously you've seen the products change. Have you seen the borrower wants or borrower needs change during that period as well, or applicants, clients, as you would call them?
I don't think massively. I mean, it's funny, there's a question that I've almost stopped asking borrowers, and that's how much do you want to borrow? Because the answer's as much as possible. And you know this.
How much you want to pay, as little as possible.
What have you got to put in it? As little as possible, yeah. So I think the fundamentals don't really change, but what we do find is that people start getting more creative with the projects, and maybe it's not, just your standard flips anymore. You know, the developing them not just into buy-to-lets. You know, we've seen SAs come and go. Commercial to resi seems to be the buzz at the minute. So the nature of the project changes, but the wants don't seem to change. It's, I want it as cheap as possible with as little as money in as possible. And you know, there is almost no point asking the question with most people.
No, I don't think that will ever change. So during that time, obviously, the products and the borrower types, etc. Have you seen yourself? Obviously, now you're owner of a successful business, you know, really well thought of in the specialist finance world. Have you seen that you've changed over that period of time since 2005?
I mean, personally,
yeah. Your approach to it, or
well, the older you get, the less you tend to. When I say don't care, I don't mean we don't care about our clients, but you go through the ups and downs, and you become a little bit more battle-hardened, don't you? So, what once was I probably go from the point of even going home at night and right in the early days, and you kind of. You're not worried about a deal because it really affects you, but you worry about it because you're thinking about the customer. And they can be sat at home thinking, oh, that's not gone right today, and they want that house or something like that, or they want that development. And then, your experience tells you that as long as you do your damnedest, you normally find a solution. And if you've got good lenders, and I dare say you guys are one of them, or else we won't be doing as much business with you as what we do. Yeah. But if there's a good, honest attitude to let's find a solution, you can normally find one. And if you can't, the situation's probably pretty dire. And it's normally the applicant's own issues, not the lack of, ability to find the money from people like you guys, or the desire to go and piece it together. I mean, we've worked on some cracking projects, haven't we?
Yeah.
The end result looks nothing like the initial. That's how we're going to make it work. We've often come up with something complete left field.
Yeah, I think you have to be creative. I think at the end of the day, it's understanding who the borrower is and what they're looking to do. We're a big believer.
Yeah,
it's the borrower, the story, then you look at the asset. If you get those two right, the asset looks after itself. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as a broker, you've got to be realistic as well. I mean. We deal with a number of lenders, but and when you're maybe having a beer or a coffee or something, you're just chatting off record and that, and you hear about so many brokers just think that you're out of order because you don't say yes to everything. And as I say to the guys back at work, I said, look, if that was your money, would you lend it?
Yeah.
And it's when they start thinking like that, and you've got to, as a broker, see both sides of the equation. And I hear that there's a lot of brokers that can't really do that in an honest fashion. They always think that the client should get something that little bit cheaper or that bit more money or things like that. But ultimately, those are the kind of deals that tend to be high risk, fall over. And actually, they're not helping the client. They're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And really, we see some things that have been funded, and we think, and it's a small world, isn't it? Let's be honest. We all see the same deals time and time again, and before you know it, you just see that deal fall over, and they might have got them into the deal by squeezing a lender too much, but actually what they've done is they've just prolonged the inevitable, and it blows up. And if the client's lucky, they'll get out of it. If they're unlucky, it'll take them down. And I don't get the point in that. I really don't.
You do. Well, we know this through experience. You have a lot of repeat borrowers.
Correct.
That come through. Why is that important to you for the repeat borrower?
Because marketing's a pain in the ass, as far as I'm concerned. Sorry, marketing.
We've got half of our marketing, all of our marketing team here today, I think.
People who are very talented at it. Well, it's not my bag. And we're entering into that space in a big way. I don't know. I just pay the bills, but, and I'm excited about the prospects. But I just like to know what's it going to cost and what are we going to kind of get out of it, and how it all works in the middle is a bit of a dark art. Hannah back at work, she's so creative with stuff and comes up with angles, and I think, how does your brain work to come up with things like that? It's not for me. But it's something that you know, I've always steered away from in the early, when I say the early, it's probably the first 21 years of trading, because we did try, and people might start laughing and think, God, how old is this fella? Yellow Pages, local radio, local rag, Exchange and Mart, funny story behind that, we have time. And we got very little from it. But
those you watching, they are newspapers, telephone books that we used to use before the internet.
Before the internet, yeah. And I looked at the effort of paying, producing the adverts, monitoring them. I thought that we're not getting a massive amount of return. But what was really evident was by actually looking after clients and doing a good job, they come back to you and they refer people. And from that little shop in Wigan, it wasn't that long before we've got clients in Australia and America and all over the UK. I did a pin drop, 10, 15 years ago on our client base, and we covered the UK apart from the mountain ranges of the Grampians and where people don't live, basically. And I thought that's what works for us. It's looking after people. And I also think it's a big reason why we got through the credit crunch in all those days, which I know is slightly different than we're not really talking about the bridging market as such, but we had such a diverse base of clients that we hadn't gone chasing the really lucrative self-cert liar loans, adverse credit, charge the client a fortune because they're that desperate. It was just never part of our moral makeup. And I'm absolutely adamant that that's why we're still here today. And I think that since we've got into the bridging market, and again, I'm only going off what people like you say to me, is we see it as there's like a triangle going on. There is us. It's not us in the middle necessarily, and there's got the client here and you guys over here, and we're the block. It's more of a triangle.
It's an open relationship is what we say, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And the more you deal with lenders who actually get to know your client without nicking them.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that happens as well. Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah.
That's when magic starts to happen, and you guys get more comfortable doing things maybe a little bit outside the box.
Yeah.
We trust you as partners not to just do something because, Paul at Express, who you obviously think's wonderful, asks you to. Right, Dan?
Yeah.
Paul is wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful.
Wonderful, thanks.
That's the soundbite that he'll use as well.
It works really, really well, and obviously we can think of 2 or 3 sizable clients that. I think there was one point on one deal where there was me, you, Scott, and Jason all trying to make something work, and we got it through.
Yeah.
And the proof of the pudding.
Calls late at night as well. Late at night on a Friday.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember driving home, and it went from. No disrespect to Jason saying, I don't think we can do this, to you and Scott saying, well, if we do this and do that, we'll get that one through. And fair play, because we're now at the other end. I know it's one deal, but it's a good example of many that we've done where that's now coming to the point where it's they've got the sales in, they're in contracts, it's built, it's done by the outside landscaping. And I think that's a deal that many lenders wouldn't have done. You guys did. Maybe some others would have done as well. Yeah. But it is that open and honest, frank discussions that you have, with all parties involved, and not just this. As I see on many occasions, even the way that some lenders converse with us, it's almost like no, and then that's the end of it. Yeah. And you think, hold on a minute, I don't think you're quite listening to the whole picture here. And that's what I like with lenders. It's it's a relationship, not just here's some black and white. There's our rates. There's our fee structure. There's our LTVs. In the early days, Dan would come in and just give me, start talking through the rate card, and I was a bit awkward, wasn't I? Like, just get rid of that. Yeah. Tell me what you can do. Tell me what you can make happen. What kind of clients do you guys crave, and let's see what we can do. And from one deal, we've done God knows how many over the years and how many millions of lending.
Yeah.
So,
and this year's been really good as well.
Yeah, I think this year's our
Best
record.
year, yeah.
When you actually look each year, it's going up. The
and up.
last 2-3 years has really been a big catalyst. As your growth into bridging, I think, as well at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. But you don't get that just from black and white. You just don't.
No.
And for a company that's grown out of the resi and buy-to-let industry, where it really is black and white and there is no flexibility, it is a little bit of a skill set. But again, it's got to be a two-way thing. You can't just be the broker who's trying to make things happen, and you can't just be the lender who's trying to be flexible.
Yeah.
You've got to have that
and the honesty as well. It's the honesty, isn't it?
Yeah, I think lots of little things happen with lenders. Obviously, price is always important because that's what clients are mainly interested in. But we spend a lot of time educating, especially the more greener investors, about so you naturally are programmed about what is the cost, because that's what we grow up being taught. Yeah, and now this property investor, you're still focusing on cost. Does it not concern you whether that lender has got sufficient financial strength behind them to make sure they can deliver that money all the way through that project? And they look at you like you're a bit weird. And it's like, well, since when the banks run out of money? And it's like, hold on, this is bridging and development. There's hundreds of lenders out there. Some of them are just small family funds. It's not regulated. And then they start to get it. And I think the proof of the pudding is that when you find a client who is very cost orientated, doing a couple of projects with a lender, Roma or for others for that matter, and when they come back to you, they go, just deal with that lender. And they've got the cost switch has been turned off, because they start to appreciate the support, the culture of the lender, the morals of that lender. And as I've said to Dan all the way through since I met, I said, listen, as long as you keep your communication levels up and we know where we're at, and it doesn't take me 4 days to track you down, and I didn't realise what it was like at the time, did I? It's like a dog with a bone, and have you got any more deals for me? I wish sometimes I wish I'd never said it. It's almost.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, but yeah, it works when you've got those important little ingredients in for a good relationship.
So what do you like about working with Express, Dan?
Careful.
No, it's like we work like a relationship where we can actually go into the office, sit with the team, understand the deals, and build a relationship personally as well with each individual, like salesperson, and also going on site with you as well, Paul, meeting the customer, seeing their projects and actually understanding the customer, not just sitting behind a desk and not actually knowing the deal, to be honest.
Do you find some brokers are fearful of letting you and the customer get to know each other?
Yeah.
Maybe not long term, but certainly initially.
I think probably on the first case they may do that, but once you actually build a relationship with my brokers and customers that I'm dealing with over the years, I've got that relationship with the broker where they've got the trust. So it might be a little bit different for another BDM or relationship manager where they're a bit more tight, where they want to go on site with a customer to actually meet him. But with regards to your cases and stuff, if there's a deal, we always go out together and work together about it.
I think my experience is customers actually like the lender coming out, certainly on development stuff, because people still hark back to having a bank manager before the credit crunch, when people would come out and take an interest in having a relationship with the lenders. As lenders, we've got to understand we wouldn't have that relationship if the broker hadn't introduced it. So having that open relationship between us should mean that we all benefit. The customer does more transactions. Yep. We do more with that customer. We do more. The broker does more with that customer, and we do more with the broker. It's not rocket science, really, is it?
It's not. But you might be surprised how many bank, and I'm not just talking about in the bridging space necessarily, but certainly some in the bridging space and that, who actually see that once you've introduced that customer to them, it's fair game going down the line, whether that's their customer or ours all of a sudden. You think, hold on a minute, that's not how the relationship works. Of course, you know, if you don't, the clients are perfectly entitled to deal with whoever they want, I'm sure, but I would hope that doesn't mean that you're giving almost, you know, carte blanche to lenders to say, yeah, go on, you go and have a go at nicking them off us when we've introduced them in the first place. It does leave a sour taste in your mouth, and yeah, it happens more often than you know.
And do you see, obviously, just moving away from that into the next, you mentioned about changes that you've seen since your neon paper sign and moving on. Where does technology play its part? Because as you speak to brokers, some brokers get worried about AI.
Yeah.
Some brokers don't. How do you find that?
Well, again, apart from being a marketing...
Do you know what AI is? Yeah.
I think it's 2 letters of the alphabet, isn't it? Yeah. Bit of a marketing foe, but technophobe maybe as well. However, you've got to just embrace things at times, and we've adapted it into the company. And actually, when you learn what it can and can't do, and I think if you apply it honestly for your clients and say, look, we are not going to totally let you rely on this robot, but there are certain things it can do just to ease your journey and ease the workload of the guys at work, and the client's better for it, we're better for it, then why not?
It's just another tool. I think certainly when it comes to specialist lending, it's not the same, is it, as getting a mortgage on that. Mortgages, rate card and fees. That's the thing. And AI may take some of that, take that away. If somebody is remortgaging, it might be such an easier transaction. But finding the right lender for the right project, for the right customer at the right time, in the right space, that's the human touch, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, as it was pointed out to me by someone who's well into the technology side, you've got to remember that AI is only really pulling knowledge from the internet, and we all know that the internet's not always right. So, but yeah, the human touch is. I don't know. You know, maybe one day in the future they'll make them so clever that they can apply discretion and things like that. Who knows? But sometimes you just can't be picking up the phone and saying, Dan, Jason, Michael, it's not quite what the rate card and that says. But on the plus side, there's all these other things in the background that we think makes a deal a good one.
Yeah, we haven't got an appetite to have an AI Dan or an AI Jason.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. I don't think we could ever do an AI. I think you break it, Dan.
Just get rid of Dan before Jason.
It's all right.
No. Well, Jason could make it today. That's how we ended up.
Right, okay.
But I think that again just shows that it's about building that whole team, isn't it, around the transaction, and having direct access to underwriters.
Yeah.
We think is key. It's great for Dan to sell the dream, but it's the underwriter making that work, and I think that's what we've found, the perfect synergy there.
I think you're right. God, he's gonna love me for saying this, but and again, I'm sure you've got many good underwriters at Roma that are, equally as capable. But I couldn't imagine our lives with Roma being as easy as what it is if Jason wasn't available to us at the end of the phone and that. And similarly him as well, but more Jason than him.
Yeah.
Well, Jason pays out. But at the end of the day, I think it's about not gatekeeping the people who add value to the relationship. Yeah. That's the key bit. For us as a lender, we're quite open with that.
Sometimes it just comes down to ease. It's to phone a BDM, to phone an underwriter, for them to somehow find a minute to phone them back, to phone us back. And it's no disrespect to any BDM, but if you can just phone the decision maker there and then and get through. Again, communication, isn't it? It's not just communicate. It's how easy it is to communicate as well as getting the communication.
Absolutely.
And we value that immensely. We do.
Brilliant. That's something that we want to keep on, regardless of technology. Makes your job a bit easier.
It's easy picking the phone up than doing an email because it's a lot quicker as well. It takes you like 10 seconds to ring someone. And
we've got to remember, ultimately, I know I'm saying it makes our life easier, but it actually makes the client's life easier as well, which is just as important, if not more so.
We just got to be careful that your email inbox doesn't just become the new post room. It takes time for things to come out. Ultimately, I think customers need that speed of ease. brokers need that speed, but communication is the key bit for us.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I say to our team, pick the, and I can't say it because it's rude, but phone up. Pick the phone up. You can cover so much ground quicker. You can explain yourself better. I mean, face-to-face is ultimately the best relationship because, I mean, what do you start doing? You gesticulate, you communicate with body language as well, but phone, at least you can alter your tone of voice or explain, understand. You can instantly react to a question rather than wait for an email backwards and forwards. But ultimately, the written word is often misunderstood. So,
but the more barriers you put in place, regardless of what happens, the customer doesn't make any money until they buy the asset or do the works to create the value. The broker doesn't make any money until it pays out, and the lender doesn't make any real money until they pay you back.
Correct.
So dancing around the handbags or wherever it is it's all about making sure it's a transaction and just getting on with it. I think that's the key thing.
Absolutely.
Love it. Listen, I could carry on all day, as we always do.
Yeah.
But it's been great to have you in and spending some time with Dan as well.
Yeah.
Shame that Jason couldn't be here, but I'm sure he will be next time. All right,
He might
Paul?
try to come to the office in December.
Maybe.
Well, there's a challenge
Well,
there.
listen, thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much. And thank you very much, everybody else, for watching. Thank you.